Conservatism's a lot like a parable that tells the truth but cloaks it in a cute little fable. You need to listen and pay attention to the tale and internalize it, think about it, and then realize that the ideas are good, and then figure out for yourself that the ideas in the story actually apply to your own life. And then once you figure that out on your own, you feel like the logic is yours, you can claim the knowledge from the parable for your own. So you worked for it. You can appreciate it. When you're preached to, you just meet it with resistance. And that's the same way these people on the left are going to react if we come right out and try and educate them straight about what it means to be conservative and a respecting human being. People not soften if we meet them head on. There's a game in acting called yes-anding. It's an improv game, improvisation. People come up with zany scenarios, and no matter what the scenario is, you have to say yes and somehow roll with it, and then either with your yes and make their weird situation work, or bring some logic to it, or it's the same way with this dialogue we have to have with the left. We have to Jane Goodall on them. We have to let them like us. And then gently. And I know it's hard, because when you talk to these people, all you want to do is scream and curse and spank them to correct their corrupt thinking. But we won't make any headway that way. I love this country. I can't picture myself living here if this kind of government continues. So I guess I'm also here because I'm mad. But not because I'm an angry person. I'm mad because I love. It's the idea behind compassionate conservatism. It's my Catholic love. I have such a high expectation for people with the brains that God gave them, for the autonomy that God gave them, that our forefathers fought so hard to keep for us. For us. Let that sink in. They fought for the freedom to be able to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps and fix the problem themselves, just as you and I should be able to fix our problems for ourselves, without praying that the Obamas save us all. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a beautiful thing to see how happy and elated New York City was after the election. Honestly, just to see the joy on the people's faces was nice. It's rare that you get to see so many happy people in one place at one time. I mean, I guess it must have been as nice for them as it was for those of us who were able to see the Pope on his recent visit to New York City. Many happy people, just happy to be happy. But whereas when Benedict came, the peace was from an understanding that the large group of people share the same hope for human kindness, the peace of the Obama was largely a piece of ignorance, based on the empty symbolism that we have overcome the issue of race in America. Oh, that'd be nice. We showed them. We put one in the White House. Great. An ignorance based on the blind hope that Obama can fix all our economic woes. And what's he do? He moves to take over the private sector. Last night in his Q&A, Obama actually said that he expects there to be strong support for his taking over of private enterprise. We need to vocalize. We cannot let him continue to believe or continue to get away with saying that he believes that there is strong public support for his taking over of private enterprise. Obama also said that limiting tax deductions to charitable giving will not limit charitable giving. If you take away 10% of the money I have, you take away 10% of the money I have to spend on my society. How can I give as much to the needy when you are taking it from me before I can give it? You take it from me, and now you, the government, has to pay people in the government to handle that money and go around and around and around the bureaucracy and the red tape before it can actually get to the needy people that I would have just given it to straight to begin with. But that's the idea, isn't it? Force all the charitable groups into hiding so that the only big and strong enough organization to do it is Big Brother government. I've got friends that work for the Salvation Army, friends that work in nonprofits, and these people are hurting right now. They're cutting paid positions, and these are not positions that we can really afford to lose right now in an economic depression. The first thing to suffer in hard times is charitable giving. I'm not going to give to them when my own people are hurting. It's basic mentality of displaced people, of DPs. That's what we're building with these socialist policies. When we're all too poor to look out for the other guy, that's when communism can go in for the power and the glory. Hey, it worked in Eastern Europe. We need to stay vigilant. I differ from Russian Hannity because I'm asking you to diversify your news. I'm a Luddite, yeah, but please, learn to use the internet to fact check. It's the new Dewey Decimal System. I got an email the other day from a couple who are usually very reliable source. You might have seen the email. It's about Pelosi's grab for your retirement account. The email was entitled, "She should be impeached now." The email was about a proposed windfall tax on retirement income. The plan was to attack your 401k and mutual funds. I was livid. But the email appealed a little too strongly to racist sensibilities, so I did some research, Snopes and whatnot. It was a total hoax. It had been circulating in various forms since '06. And I know these days it's difficult to worry about what's going on outside your own household. It's the DBP mentality again. You've got to take care of the plank of wood that's in your own eye before you can even worry about bothering with a splinter in your brother's eye, right? But we have to keep an eye on these people. Otherwise, they're going to take the ball and run with it. If we're running around with misinformation, then it's only going to hurt us. I work in New York City. I live in a small town outside of New York City. In a small town, you can know the drunk by name. You can know who's poor, you can know who's too weak to shovel their own sidewalk, their own driveway, and you can address these issues without involving a big, expensive, embarrassing government program. This is not as possible in New York City. I say as possible because of the ownership communities in places like Bed-Stuy. In Harlem, they told us, "Get out of Harlem, Whitey!" And "I want my neighborhood back." In Bed-Stuy, they welcomed us with open arms and jerk turkey and plantain. Because the buildings in parts of Bed-Stuy are almost all owner-occupied, they take a little more pride and concern in their neighborhood and their neighbors. More, at least, than the renter community in Harlem.